Big Brother 27 recently introduced a new power that I actually really liked, the Mystery Competitor power. For those of you who haven't caught up yet, the Mystery Competitor power allows for the holder to essentially summon a Big Brother alumni to compete alongside them in the veto competition if they are on the block, effectively doubling their chances of winning the power of veto. In this instance, it was Big Brother 20 winner and challenge veteran Casey Clark who ended up winning the veto for Keanu, the holder of this power. Personally, I love a callback to older seasons, whether it be a simple cameo in a competition or some sort of actual involvement in the game, so this was definitely a fun twist. But then I started thinking, what if they took this power a step further? While it isn't practical or realistic, what if the holder of the Mystery Competitor power had the ability to choose which former Big Brother house guests competed alongside them? Then I started spiraling down the rabbit hole even more, and I came up with this question. If you had the Mystery Competitor power and had the ability to choose any Big Brother alumni to compete alongside you in the power veto competition, who should you pick to maximize your chances of winning? That brings us to today's video topic. I've gone back and looked at all of the data and crunched the numbers to try and answer this question. So, with all of that preamble out of the way, it is the one and only RJ21 here, and let's figure out who you should pick as your mystery competitor in Big Brother.
I can't wait to use this power and see who Big Brother's got in store for me.
Before we get into all of the data analysis, we need to set some ground rules. First and foremost, we're only looking at regular civilian seasons of Big Brother US, so no Celebrity Big Brother, no Big Brother Over the Top, and no Big Brother Canada house guests will be included in this list. Secondly, I will only be looking at veto statistics to assess all of these house guests. I do understand that those guidelines definitely skew the data in favor of some house guests over others, but in the context of the overarching question, we are only concerned about veto competitions. There are some house guests who don't make this list, such as Bowie Jane in Big Brother 25, Chelsea in Big Brother 26, who are pretty good competitors but have only ever won HOH competitions. If I need to draft somebody to win a power veto, I'm going to choose somebody who, has won a power veto in the first place. I think that just makes sense. Finally, we need to define some terminology. The word choice does get a bit finicky, but just hear me out for a moment. First, we have the win percentage. This is the percentage of veto competitions a house guest has won in relation to the amount of competitions they participated in. For example, if a house guest has competed in 8 veto competitions and they won 2 of them, that means they have a 25% win rate. Seems pretty straightforward. This next metric is somewhat difficult to explain with just words, so I have an accompanying visual to help explain it. For this example, I am using Kylan's veto statistics from Big Brother 23 because why not? On the left side is Kylan's veto wins. If he wins the competition, he gets a 1, but if he loses the competition, he gets a 0. On the right side is Kylan's expected win rate. This is the likelihood of Kylan winning any given veto. It might look complicated or arbitrary in how I found this value, but it's very simple. Most veto competitions have 6 competitors, except for circumstances such as Final 5 and the Final 4 rounds, or any twists or situations that messed with the amount of competitors. This means that in most given veto competitions, Kylan has a 1 in 6 chance of winning the veto, or around 0.1667. Adding up all of Kylan's expected wins gives us his expected win rate, or the amount of veto competitions Kylan is expected to win given the amount of vetoes he participated in. In this instance, Kylan is expected to win around 2 vetoes. However, Kylan actually won 3 vetoes, which takes us to his actual win rate. When we divide the amount of vetoes he actually won by the amount of vetoes he was expected to win, we get his actual win rate, which is expressed in percentage form. I know that was a lot and it is probably a little much to digest initially, but trust me in explaining this method, as this metric is actually very useful in finding the answer to our overarching question. I also want to give a shout out to this Reddit user for inspiring me to use this method in the first place. I will link their original Reddit post in the description down below so you can see it for yourself. They definitely explain it in a much more succinct and straightforward way than I do, so please go check it out.
If you watch Big Brother, you know that the pawns can always go home. So I have to win this veto to take myself off the block and ensure my own safety.
Now that we've laid out the ground rules, we need to figure out how to narrow down the data. Initially, I was going to look at raw win percentages, but then I quickly realized how inaccurate of a statistic that is alone. For reference, if a house guest competed in every single veto competition on a 16-person cast with no battlebacks or twists to mess with the veto numbers, a house guest is expected to win 2 vetoes, or around a 15% win percentage. So, hearing that there are house guests such as Christian from Big Brother 23 or Heisum from Big Brother 25 with a 100% win percentage, that would make them seem like far and away the best choices to be the mystery competitor. That is, until you realize that Christian and Heisem have only competed in 2 veto competitions, which is certainly not enough data to get an accurate sense of their veto prowess. I know they have a lot of success in other non-veto competitions to support these claims, but remember that we aren't looking at that data for the sake of this video. Because of this, I instituted a veto win baseline. If a HouseGuest competed on one season and won 3 or more vetoes, they automatically moved on to the next round. If a HouseGuest competed on multiple seasons and won 5 or more vetoes, they also automatically moved on. This narrows down our field to 27 HouseGuests, which is definitely a large reduction, but still a large pool of competitors nonetheless. This then takes us to the deep analysis of each HouseGuest's win statistics. This process was purely just crunching the numbers and then comparing each HouseGuest to one another. In the end, I moved on 6 HouseGuests to the final round, fittingly enough. I moved on 4 HouseGuests who competed on one season and 2 HouseGuests who competed on multiple seasons. For the HouseGuests who competed on one season, I moved on Casey from Big Brother 20, Michael from Big Brother 24, Jag from Big Brother 25, and Mackenzie from Big Brother 26. I was close to moving on other one-time house guests, such as Crazy James from Big Brother 9 and Tucker from Big Brother 26, but their stats just weren't quite high enough, or there simply just wasn't enough data for me to feel confident in them. For the house guests that competed on multiple seasons, I moved on James Ryan from Big Brother 6 and 7 and Brendan from Big Brother 12 and 13. This definitely shocked me, as before I really analyzed the data, I thought for sure some house guests like Paul, Cody, or Janelle would easily make the cutoff, as they all won absurd amount of veto competitions. Paul won 8 vetoes, while Cody and Janelle both won 7 vetoes. However, what brings them down is the amount of veto competitions they participated in. While the raw number of veto wins is high, they all competed in a lot of veto competitions, meaning that there were obviously more opportunities to win the veto, so their win percentage and actual win rates were not as high as I initially thought. Ultimately, these 6 house guests are who I decided to move on, and if you disagree with my choices and would swap one of them out with a house guest like Paul or Tucker, I would understand that.
A bridesmaid once again.
The final stage of analysis I had in figuring out who to choose as the mystery competitor to best maximize the chances of winning the veto is looking at the types of competitions each of them won. If a house guest wins a lot of vetoes but they're all of a similar archetype, it's a bit of a gamble. If you choose a house guest that has a very particular skill set and you end up competing in a competition that doesn't fit their skill set, you are more likely than not screwed. For this portion, I divided the competitions into 4 categories: physical, mental, skill, and mixed. Physical is for athletic-based competitions, such as the ball rolling comp. Mental is for more intellectual-based competitions, such as stay or fold. Skill is for more ability-based comps, such as the microstack competition. Finally, mixed comps is for comps that prominently feature 2 or more of the previously mentioned categories, such as OTEV or BB Comics. So, with these categories in mind, let's take a moment to analyze each of these house guests.
But I think you should have got me out when you had the chance, because I'm certainly not going to make it easy for you from here on out.
Across James's 2 seasons, James participated in 11 veto competitions and won 5 of them, giving him a win percentage of 45.45% and an actual win rate of 267.81%. If we want to get super technical, James actually won 6 vetoes because he essentially won the veto for Sarah in week 4 of Big Brother 6 to keep both of them safe, but for the sake of this video, he only actually won 5 vetoes. Of James's 5 vetoes, he won 1 physical comp in the water transferring comp, 1 mental comp in the night moves comp, 2 skill comps in the close to 20 comp on Big Brother 6 and the pole building comp on Big Brother 7, and 1 mixed comp in the water duos puzzle. Needless to say, if the competition involves water somehow, James seems to be the perfect fit. However, one major caveat with some of James's veto wins is that he technically didn't win them himself. He was thrown the night moves comp by his alliance, the Sovereign 6, and he only won the close to 20 comp purely on accident due to everybody else messing up. So, while he does have a diverse array of veto wins, some of them are a bit of a fluke, which does knock him down a bit in this evaluation.
There's not a person who's more feared/hated than me. Now I think they're going to see a side of James that they might not be prepared for.
Across Brendan's 2 seasons, Brendan participated in 11 veto competitions and won 6 of them, giving him a win percentage of 54.55% and an actual win rate of 303.57%. Of Brendan's 6 vetoes, he won 1 physical comp in the duo veto of Big Brother 13, 3 mental comps in the spelling comp on both Big Brother 12 and Big Brother 13, and the stay or fold competition in Big Brother 12, and 2 skill comps in How Bad Do You Want It on Big Brother 12, and the time activity comp on Big Brother 13. All things considered, Brendan is actually a very underrated veto competitor in the grand scheme of things, and would actually be a very solid pick considering his statistics.
My back was against the wall and I came through again. Brittany, you tried to get me out of this house? Guess who's staying?
Across Big Brother 20, Casey participated in 8 veto competitions and won 5 of them, giving her a win percentage of 62.5% and an actual win rate of 344.78%, the highest of any woman. Of Casey's 5 vetoes, Casey won 1 physical comp in the seesaw, 1 skill comp in the item catching, and 3 mixed comps in BB Comics, The Maze, and Pulling Some Strings. Although a lot of Casey's veto wins lean heavily towards the physical side, Casey is actually equally well versed in mental comps, with all of the mixed comps Casey winning incorporating some sort of mental component, meaning she is actually more well-rounded than I initially remembered. Maybe it's because of her overexposure on the challenge and how apparent it is that she is really bad at math, but I remember Casey being a much more physical competitor, although the statistics say otherwise.
I cannot believe that I came through with my 5th veto win.
Across Big Brother 24, Michael participated in 8 veto competitions and won 6 of them, giving him a win percentage of 75% and an actual win rate of 321.41%. Similarly with James Ryan, Michael could have 7 veto wins if he didn't throw the first 2 rounds of stay or fold, but I digress. Of Michael's 6 vetoes, Michael won 1 physical comp in slip and slide, 1 mental comp in the duo puzzle, 2 skill comps in the jousting and mermaid comps, and 2 mixed comps in OTEV and BB Comics. Needless to say, Michael is probably one of the most well-rounded competitors we've spoken about thus far, with pretty balanced wins across all categories and no significant favor for one competition type over another, making Michael a very strong pick.
I've now officially won all 4 vetoes I've competed in, and I should probably stop winning before I become too big of a threat.
Across Big Brother 25, Jack participated in 11 veto competitions and won 7 of them, giving him a win percentage of 63.64% and an actual win rate of 366.76%, the highest of any competitor to make it to this upper echelon. Of Jag's 7 vetoes, Jag won 3 physical comps in the sticky crawl, slip and slide, and dizzy discs, 1 mental comp in the daze comp, and 3 mixed comps in OTEV, snapshot shuffle, and coin stacking. Based on this analysis, I think it's pretty fair to say that Jag has a very particular and specific skill set. Literally 6 of the 7 vetoes Jag wins has some sort of physical component to them, meaning that if the competition doesn't heavily rely on physicality or athleticism, Jag is essentially screwed. It's also worth mentioning Jag's competition for these vetoes in particular. If Jag was beating these super physical house guests consistently in these competitions, then these wins would be extremely impressive. However, that is very much so not the case, as he was often competing against the 2 oldest house guests in these heavily physical competitions, making it highly probable that he was going to win them. So, while Jag does hold the record for the most veto wins in a single season, they're not all that impressive in terms of diversity of comp wins.
Let's go! Another veto in the bag, baby. I'm so excited about this. That's 5 comp wins in a row. This is super exciting.
Across Big Brother 26, Mackenzie participated in 9 veto competitions and won 4 of them, giving her a win percentage of 44.44% and an actual win rate of 247.39%. Of Mackenzie's 4 vetoes, Mackenzie won 2 mental comps in the Wild Robot and the Daze comp, and 2 mixed comps in OTEV and BB Comics. If we were taking into consideration Mackenzie's non-veto competition wins, we would see that Mackenzie is a much more physical competitor than the data makes it appear. However, based on this veto data alone, Mackenzie is a very mental competitor, with all of her veto wins involving a significant mental portion, essentially making her the mental version of Jag, except she wasn't competing against elderly women a majority of the time. Nevertheless, Mackenzie is still an impressive veto competitor and would be a guaranteed top pick if the veto competition was confirmed to be mental.
Just won the most iconic game of the season. Also, who wins OTEV in 1 round? This girl!
After looking at all of the data and thoroughly analyzing the top 6, my top 3 picks would be Brendan, Casey, and Michael, with all of these house guests being well-rounded and not leaning too far into one skill set or another. In the end, the house guest I would choose as the mystery competitor would be Michael Bruner from Big Brother 24. Not only does he have one of the highest win percentages out of any house guest, he has a respectably high actual win rate and a diverse array of comp wins to boot. Is it a physical competition? He's proven he can do well in those. Is it a mental comp? He's proven he can do well in those comps too. Is it a skill-based comp? He's proven he can win those too. Is it a comp that has a mix of multiple elements? Well, guess what? He can win those too. This guy can do basically everything except untangle himself from a cord. Ultimately, Michael is such a well-rounded competitor with impressively high statistics, especially given some of his competition, which is why I believe he would be the best pick to be the mystery competitor if given the choice to maximize your chances of earning the power of veto.
Who better to work the games at BB Fest than the comp beast of the season? No one ever gets a prize because I beat them at every game. Add it to my list of accomplishments.
All in all, even though I chose Michael as the best choice to draft as the mystery competitor and the statistics support this claim, there is still no guarantee. Michael, just like everybody else I discussed in this top 6, has lost a veto at some point, meaning that there is always going to be a variability to a certain extent with these competitions. At the end of the day, I just think it's a fun thought experiment to think about these hypothetical circumstances and how to best approach them, and in this instance, I believe Michael is my best chance at earning a veto. But those are just my thoughts. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends if you have any of those, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.
I may be okay, but I'm good enough to win Power of Veto. So, there.